Oh, Radio Free Professional Wrestling. All in footage reaction on Twitter. I'm just come through on my phone.
Good morning, good afternoon. It's Shawn with my tag team partner David. We are here on Radio Free Professional Wrestling on this Friday to give our opinions on the footage from AEW Dynamite this past Wednesday, where the Young Bucks had their promo segment trying to build the feud to FTR at AEW Dynasty, and they decided to use the All In London footage. We finally seen it. And David, what was your first thoughts of this amazing footage, quote unquote amazing footage?
Yeah, it was amazing, sure. It was amazing. I'm going to go back when Tony announced. My first thought when they announced that they were doing this, which was obviously in reaction to the Ariel Helwani interview, which is a really, really good interview. Whether you like Punk or not, it's a great interview. It's compulsive. Was Christ. My first reaction was Punk's lying. Has to be lying. Because why would Tony show this footage unless everything that Punk has said up to this point has been a misnomer, has been a lie, but as he says, tell me if I'm telling lies. And, well, my reaction has been very, very similar to, I think, the entire world, the entire wrestling world, is that no good will come of this, young Shawn. No good will come of this, certainly for AEW.
Okay, so my first reaction to them saying, hey, this coming Wednesday, we're going to show the footage. I'm going like, why are we digging up something from 9 months ago? You guys have Bryan Danielson versus Ospreay. We learned this week you have Pat versus Okada. You have two hot matches. You have FTR versus the Young Bucks. If you can't sell a pay-per-view with those three matches, why are you in business?
But again, we go back to something we've discussed earlier, and has been brought up in particularly the last 3 or 4 weeks. The Pat versus Okada build. 10 days, 2 weeks, maybe.
Yeah, about 2 weeks.
Admittedly, they've given Danielson and Will some build. From the moment Will came in, Will was like, right, I want Danielson. We'll do it at Dynasty. 2 of the best wrestlers in the world of any generation. So they have built that a little bit. The only reason the FTR Bucks match has been built is because you can see it from once Moxley wasn't involved in it, in some form of the Blackpool Combat Club. You could see what the final was. So we built it ourselves, Shawn. We built it in our own head. We knew that the result, because Tony's booking is predictable, we knew that the result was going to be the final. We knew that they'd got, if you like, a rubber match to come. And there you go. Now, it'd be interesting to see. I know you'll probably do your predictions for Dynasty with Ashley, but you've got to go for the Young Bucks to win that match because FTR are friends with Punk. Despite all
David,
this. Go on.
David, you're probably right. We did see this coming. This match was coming as soon as the brackets was laid out. You just could draw the lines. It's like there's no surprise here.
No.
So we get to Wednesday. We see the footage.
Yeah.
And my first question is, it's security cam footage, so there's no audio. So my first question is, what is being said between CM Punk and Jack Perry? Because apparently Jack Perry does say something to cause Punk to go forward and start this fight, quote unquote fight. I'd love to know what that was. Because now I remember Punk saying in an interview that Jack Perry said, and I'm using Punk's words here, like, are you going to do something about it? Well, Jack Perry just learned you can't say that to just anybody on the planet because eventually you're going to run into somebody going like, okay, I'll take you up on that.
Let's stop calling it a fight. It's not a fight. In any way, shape, or form is it a fight. It's a playground coming together with a few harsh words and maybe a bit of harsh language. I've been in a ring and boxed. I've all right, badly. I hasten to add, I was there to get beaten up. I was the enhancement talent, if you like. And I've been in the odd fight or two, and never in anything that I've seen and done in my life has a fight looked like that. So let's stop calling it a fight. It was a coming together of, if you like, aggressive hugging. Now, you're absolutely bang on. You can see Jack Perry said something to Phil. And I'm guessing he's not asked what sort of dog food he'd like Larry to get from England while he's over there. He said something. It's obviously come from the glass incident that he talked about on the Hawani interview. The comments in the match, Punk's seen them. And they've obviously, Punk's made sure, even though they were next match on, and you've got Jerry Lynn, who was the manager of their match, or the producer of their match, all in gorilla waiting to go. And they've come out, and Jack Perry has said something to Punk. We don't know what it is. We can hazard a guess from the footage that what Punk has said is there or thereabouts, so maybe not word for word. And yeah, this is the thing that they played on Wednesday night that they hoped would change the wrestling world's view of this, is that Punk physically has reacted first and put his flat palms on Jack Perry's chest and moved him. And this is how I'm going to phrase it, Shawn, from what I've seen. Again, having been in these sort of incidents, be it in my days as a military policeman, be it in my days as a pisshead, be it in my days of, just being a general Englishman, he's only pushed him back. He's done nothing but push him back. Go watch the footage. He's pushed him back. All of a sudden, and as it happens, you make one thing happen, and there's bodies everywhere. There's things everywhere. Then you see Punk try, and as he says, in the air, choke him a little bit, because you see Jack's head go under his arm. Punk leans over, and the next thing you know, good old Jerry Lynn has got Punk away. Now, sorry, yeah, please.
Exactly. We see Samoa Joe grab Jack Perry. Jerry Lynn grabs Punk. They separate. And next thing we see is Punk walking towards the set of monitors and pointing at a gentleman behind the monitors. We assume that's going to be Tony Khan. And we see Chris Hero come around the side of the monitors to block Punk's way to get to supposedly Tony Khan. Yeah. Okay, my next question. There's 3 monitors there, David. They just watched Hook versus Jack Perry. They just heard Jack Perry say, "This is real glass. Cry me a river." Why wasn't there somebody on the stage to lead Jungle Boy Jack Perry to a different direction instead of going back for the go position?
Or, exactly the same point. Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree with that more. If you can't anticipate trouble coming from that, then you're in your own business, which Tony is, but that's besides the point. Or you have a little line, Jack, get through there. I'm going to come and talk to you in a minute. Phil, get ready for your match. I'll deal with it. But this is has been Phil's problem all along. He won't deal with it. Bearing in mind, and it all comes back to one thing, in my opinion. Bear in mind who Perry is mates with. He doesn't want to upset his star couple of quarterbacks, does he? And he just doesn't want to upset anyone. I mean, Punk alluded to that in the Hawani interview. He doesn't want to upset anyone. And he can't deal with it. He does not know the man. I don't know whether he is scared of these guys. He's brought them in and not realised that he can not handle them. And I don't know, but he's got to find a pair of cojones. I'm not being funny. Being punched in the face don't hurt that much for long. And I'm not trying to make myself out to be a big, but it don't. You've got to sometimes have the balls to stand up to people and say, "No, you get in the back, Punk. Don't you dare. Otherwise, you're gone." I know Punk wanted to go, but this to me now, seeing this, I'm proving pretty much that Punk was right. just shows that there was the Bucks. No one wanted him there, when no one wanted him to come back. And the Elite, Page, the Bucks, Colt Cabana, whatever, whoever it is, Jack Perry, they've all colluded. They've all gone into business for themselves. And Punk hasn't lost because he's looking at him. He took his contract from AEW, got paid for sitting at home, and now he's gone to WWE on probably a very similar contract.
Okay, so me looking back at this event here at All In, the footage we just saw was a direct result of Tony Khan not handling the situation at Brawl Out. He had a moment at Brawl Out after that happened. He could have went to both gentlemen. He could have gone to the Young Bucks, said like, "Hey, we don't have this with my EVPs. You're EVPs. You are above the talent. You are in this group of ownership. That's not a way to act. Bye, Young Bucks. Go back to TNA. Be Generation Me." Then, when CM Punk said, "Hey, you can let me go," I would have been like, "Okay, Phil, fine. We'll part ways. I'll keep quiet. We'll pay you. You can go do whatever you want to, but you want out of the company. I ain't going to keep you here because you don't want to be here. Yeah, I might take a hit in ratings. Yeah, I may lose some fans, but I'm willing to do that to have peace." And now he didn't do anything of that, and here we are.
Yeah, here we are indeed. You look at the AEW roster, and this is going to come on. I'm probably doing a spoiler, and I'm probably doing myself a disservice here. You've got on that roster, you've got Ospreay, Okada, and Bryan Danielson. You back that up with, in theory, MJF, Samoa Joe, Swerve Strickland, who you've got to give them credit for. They've turned into a star. Got to give them credit for that. I certainly would. You've got 6 of the world's best wrestlers at the moment, and he doesn't know what to do with them. And that is the reason the viewers are dropping off in droves. You know, you brought Will in, Will shown to be highly adaptable and because most of his time he's been a heel in his career, as good as he is, but he's been a heel. He's come in into AEW as complete white meat. And it's working at the moment, but you fear for it. You really, really do fear for it. Tony, I've said this so many times on the show, Tony couldn't book a library. And that's the end of it.
Okay, David, you did say things about ratings. Dynamite from this past Wednesday, its final rating was 839,000 viewers. They didn't draw near 1 million viewers. They didn't draw nearly their average. I mean, yes, they're up a percentage from what they had the week before. Okay, so let's look at the quarter average, because the quarter average came out last night. Leading into Big Bang Theory into that first segment, that 8 to 8:15 segment, they started off with 987,000 viewers, okay? Then they had a pretty good match between Edge, Adam Copeland, and Penta. It was a good match. I enjoyed it. That segment was 857,000 viewers. They dropped literally, what do you want to say, 130,000 viewers from the Big Bang Theory. So the Big Bang Theory crowd left for that first match, basically. Okay. Yeah, so now we're dealing with the AEW fan crowd that loves AEW, who tune in on Wednesday nights. Yeah. So the segment comes with the Young Bucks doing their promo, showing the footage. That jumps up to 880,000 viewers. Okay. The segment after that was the FTR response to it in the ring. That dropped to 822,000 viewers. That was a drop of 58,000 viewers. And they steadily declined through the rest of the night. That has been the normal pattern for AEW Dynamite. You start off with that Big Bang crowd, then you get to the actual AEW fans, and at the end of the night, it's mainly the diehard AEW fans that watch the main event.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly hasn't got the numbers, Tony. I mean, this is the one thing for me overall with this, irrelevant of the viewing figures. I mean, I thought the viewing figures would be more for it, just out of novelty value, just wrestling fans wanting to see actually what went on one of the most famous, infamous ever wrestling moments. Okay, certainly of our generation, Shawn. For me, it's not far short of Montreal in '97. So, 87. I digress. The Shawn and Bret incident. It's not far short of that. It was a huge disappointment because it was what Punk said it was. For me, it was. I can't see any major difference in that footage of what Punk said it was. So why Tony's done it, God knows. I don't know. But you would have thought that the viewing figures would have been just from sheer novelty value, from people going, oh, go on, I'll have a look, would have been much, much higher, and they weren't, and that speaks volumes. And then you get the after reaction after the show when everyone going, meh. Why? Even Meltzer would love to put Tony in a sandwich and cover him in mayonnaise and mustard and eat him. Even Meltzer's like, we've had enough. We've got to move on. This is too much. And when when Dave does that with his relationship with AEW and Tony, then Tony, you made a mistake.
David, after seeing that footage, it kind of disarmed me more on Tony Khan. And if you haven't seen our video from this past Saturday, where me and Dave were talking about the AEW releases and the going ons during WrestleMania week, you know that I was already having a sour taste about Tony Khan. And I came into this episode of AEW Dynamite. I was going to keep everything personal out of it. I was going to look at it objectively. And I saw this footage. And I'm going like, this is not groundbreaking footage. This is literally exactly everything what CM Punk said, up to the point where you can maybe disagree with him saying Joe asked him kindly to let go. That's one thing I think maybe just a little grayish. But I'm like, why show this? Then they do the FTR reaction, and FTR basically said everything I was thinking. Like, can we not put this in the past? Can we not focus on professional wrestling? This is professional wrestling.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, that's professional school children. But I'll tell you what is interesting, and I don't know your take on it, whether you've read different things to me, and we talked about this before we went on there. I didn't enjoy Dynamite on Wednesday, whether irrelevant of that segment. I disagree with you slightly. I didn't. The match of the night for me, I enjoyed but I always enjoy seeing Dustin Rhodes anyway. I enjoyed Dustin Rhodes and Joe and the interactions with Joe and Swerve. And even this week, and I'm the biggest Ospreay fan going, I didn't like the Ospreay promo. And there is rumors out there that Ospreay didn't want to do the grind comments on his promo with Renee. And also, and this is the one that's more intriguing for me, Shawn, the Bucks weren't too keen on actually leading that promo and footage. Now that I would be very intrigued to find out if that was the case. Now, I can't remember on which of the dirt sheets it was, but I read that article and you said you'd seen it. I don't know what your take is on that.
It's interesting that they were going to use the Young Bucks to lead into this conversation about the footage. You know what would have been better? Tony Khan. I mean, he's been on TV before. If you're going to show this footage, have some balls. Be the one to introduce this and lead us through the discussion of what happened. That would have been a better use of this footage. A better use of this footage would have been, let me put this out as an AEW exclusive on AEW.com. I sit down with Renee. I talk about the events behind AEW All in London. Then we can focus on Dynamite. We can lead into 2 weeks from Dynasty. We have a hot card. We don't need to use this to be like WCW from 2000 and try to pop a rating.
That is a brilliant, brilliant point. Yeah, but we've already said it. Tony's got no kahunas. And if as I said, this really does intrigue me because obviously, although it was a huge, huge dig at Punk, it was also they used it as an excuse to build the Bucks FTR match for Dynasty. With I think at one point, I don't know which one of the douches set called FTR pricks or what have you. But they used their relationship with Punk. And it was interesting to see that they never actually, and this was obviously a conscious decision, said Phil's name in the whole output. Which I actually, I think I can see why they've done that, but I just noted it was a very conscious thing that they never said his name. But then all of a sudden, about halfway through, it completely turned. They turned the promo to FTR with the odd reference to Punk and their relationship with Punk. It wasn't even that well done. You know, if you're trying to turn one of the hottest angles, real life angles, and let's face it, we both know wrestling works better when there's a grey area, when you're blurring that reality of life and etc. into a wrestling match. It works better, but you didn't even come off of that because you'd seen the footage and you were like, well, hang on, pretty much Punk's right. So it really quashed it, and it quashed anything the Bucks were trying to do towards the match with FTR. For me, again, all my personal take, but no, hot garbage, I think, is the phrase you nice Americans like to use, and that's how I saw it.
Well, in closing here, I'm hoping Tony Khan woke up this morning, saw the quarter hours, and go like, I made a mistake. I should not have showed that footage. We are not going to talk about this ever again. We're going to go and focus on our in-ring product. We're going to try to get better week after week. That's all I hope. And that's all I want to say. David, you have any final words?
No, I don't. I just wish this would go away. There's only one winner in this, and anyone from AEW, unfortunately.
Well, before we go from here, if you check out CM Punk's Instagram account, he had a photo response to the whole situation. It was President G.W. Bush on the U.S. I want to say it was the Intrepid with a big old banner saying mission accomplished. Now, if you don't know this from American history, this is during G.W. Bush's second term. We're in the war in Iraq, trying to liberate Iraq from Saddam Hussein, and he comes on to this aircraft carrier out in San Diego, if I remember right, and he says, "We accomplished our mission accomplished." And this is like halfway through the conflict, and we don't know at that point that we're going to be in Iraq and Afghanistan for another 10 to 15 years.
It was very clever, but that is true. You know, you are taking on one of the cleverest gentlemen to ever pick up a microphone in professional wrestling. Look, you know, I actually hope for once Meltzer's right and we've drawn a line under and then it goes away. Because at the moment, the WWE hotter than they've ever been for years. AEW have some stars and have some potential, but the way they're going, they might as well not bother. I mean, seriously, they might as well not bother because Tony is ruining everything. And it's such a shame. At least I suppose the talent is getting well paid. That's about the only thing you can say. I dread to think what's going to happen at Dynasty because I hope Joe keeps the title. I have a feeling he's going to drop it to Swerve at Dynasty. And that will be my gut feeling. And I have a feeling the Bucks are going to take the title belts from FTR. But, you know, it is what it is. It's the first ever AEW pay-per-view since they've started that I will not be buying. There's many reasons for that, but I will not be buying it. And I've cancelled now my AEW Fight Plus ticket. And I know that won't mean fuck all to Tony. Excuse me, Shawn, sorry. But I know that won't mean nothing to Tony or AEW, and it won't stop them millions and millions of dollars. But I'm done. I'm full. I'm full of his rubbish. He led me on from the start thinking that this was, however many years, 5 years ago, thinking this was going to be an alternative to a WWE at the time that was truly, truly awful. And in my mind, he's let every single one of us down. And the WWE have gone full circle in that they have become the compulsive watch rather than AEW.
You know what, David? I mostly agree with you there. I do feel like the only thing AEW has accomplished now is give that kick in the butt to the WWE, and the WWE has took it and ran with it. And I'm just going to wait and see what happens to AEW in the coming months. Just like you, I have no plans on buying AEW Dynasty. I will be looking for the clips, seeing the highlights of the matches, so me and Ashley can have a discussion after Dynasty to give you guys our takes on the matches. David, thank you for coming on this episode of Rave Free for Professional Wrestling. Until we see you next time, stay stunning.